It seems kind of crazy to want to bitch about something that might be saving my life, but I want to bitch about it because I just feel like tamoxifen, although it's not only tamoxifen's fault because there's also the Promacta, which it turns out I was taking 50 milligrams a day, and my platelets did drop down to 34, and they were 144. That's 1,000. They were 144,000 the day before I started taking the Promacta, and then my most recent blood test, which was like 2 to 3 weeks after taking it, the platelets were 34,000. So I started getting a little bit panicked, like, oh man, now what? I have to check the box off that I tried that, now I have to try something else, and there are only so many things that can be done in terms of like Western medicine. So, but then I backed up a little because I realized that I'm sweating. Well, first of all, the platelets can really fluctuate. I found out they can be impacted by having a cold. They can be impacted by a lot of different things. I mean, it's related to the immune system. So if my immune system is compromised, then although it might be allergies, but I don't think so. I think it's like a full-on cold because it's like raw in my nose and stuff. It just doesn't seem like allergies, although so much of the symptoms are in common between a cold and allergies. But I know I'm going to lose my train of thought. So the platelets can fluctuate. That's one thing. And then anyway, like the doctor ended up calling back saying, we're going to increase your dosage from 50 milligrams to 75 milligrams. So thank God, because, we'll see. I hope that works. And to me, that's like, taking another step rather than crossing that particular pharmaceutical off the list. Like, okay, well, that didn't work. We're going to try something else. So I'm glad to know that is a possibility because, removing my spleen is just not, I think that's what scares me the most. Well, what scares me is really not getting my platelets up, and then number one, like from anything, and then number two, along with a combination of like not being able to like exercise right and just feel like I'm getting weaker. That part's really hard, and it's not like I feel like I'm getting weaker because I'm sick. It's like I feel like from cancer anyway. It's like it's so hard. I cannot describe, and I think unless you've been through something that's incredibly fatiguing, it's really hard to get. Although being a new mom is pretty damn fatiguing. But I don't know, there's something different about this because you don't have this like little bright-eyed baby that is like the benefit of all your suffering when you're a new mom, I guess I have my life, but anyway, I digress as usual. The platelets, the Promacta. Knowing that I have more options because, getting the spleen out anyway only works for 2/3 of the people. Can you imagine if you got your spleen out and you were like hoping that your platelets went up and they didn't? Oh, that would just be so devastating. Especially on top of having to go through cancer and stuff. It's like all by itself having ITP is definitely a pain in the ass, but having it after having cancer, what could be a bigger pain in the ass than that? I guess I'm parking way out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm being a little dramatic and a little whiny and maybe a little victim-y. Just kind of feel I'm hot. That's the other thing. It's 89 degrees. I took the tamoxifen today and I was like feeling excited because I didn't think I was getting any side effects, and I still don't know if I am. There's the long-term side effects, but short-term side effects, I haven't had hot flashes or night sweats or, weight gain or weight loss. It's too soon to see, but I'm really glad I haven't had the other things. So what was I saying? Tamoxifen, I don't know what my main point was that I was going to bitch about tamoxifen. And just feeling so sluggish because I remember when I was sitting in the doctor's office with my medical oncologist and I wrote it down, which most of the time I record. Well, with him, I don't always record. Sometimes we just have a conversation and sometimes I record, but this time I wrote it down, and one of the things I wrote down was like feeling like you're getting old or feeling aged or something, and I'm like, as if I'm not already feeling that. As if I don't have like, well, when I am, I'm getting older, and And then chemo and cancer treatment, they're just so aging as well. So, like to add tamoxifen to that, like, oh my gosh. It's really, it feels like getting kicked when you're down already, but hopefully it's working. I don't know. Oh, the other thing about the platelet thing. I mean, I just, there's not a lot to say about that. I mean, obviously I'm just kind of bitching about it, but tamoxifen works, that it extends the lives of people who are high risk and people who are low risk, not low risk. Well, it reduces the incidence of recurrence, and that's really important. And then some people take it to just stave off cancer, I read, which is an interesting thing, who are high risk in the other category. So I'm high risk for reoccurrence because of the size. Platelet thing, though, is that I was going pretty gung-ho on this list, which I need to find the list again, but it was all of these natural things that work. Papaya leaf extract, we know. This, like, breast worm just keeps on poking on out of my shirt. Papaya leaf extract, wheatgrass, and I think pomegranate juice. And I just bought pomegranate juice. It was on sale. It's like $9.99 for a jar like that, which you just drink it down. It's not like a concentrate or something. And then, I mean, I could drink that in a day. And then, the papaya juice and different things. Of course, papaya juice is always mixed with something else. But, and the wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is supposed to be amazing. So wheatgrass is like $4 for a little shot. But I think that's really concentrated and condensed. But I find it really interesting that my platelets were so high, like 144. I was on no drug, no pharmaceutical, and then I started taking it, and then my platelets dropped because I stopped doing all the wheatgrass and all this and that because I want to see, I want it to be a fair comparison. I don't want to do the Promacta and do all this natural stuff, and then I'm like, oh, the Promacta's working. So if when he increases it to 75 and I can tolerate it and the side effects aren't bad, if it doesn't work, then I'm going to say, okay, let's take me off of it, assuming my platelets are, not 10 or something like that, that I can handle it. And then I'm going to try to do, it was really costly. It was really costly because the bottle of papaya leaf extract, it was like this big and it was like $70, $80. And I don't know how long that lasts, but it's not long. It's not a month, that's for sure. I feel like it's a couple of weeks. So that's pricey. And then the pomegranate juice and wheatgrass, it's so expensive to do all that. And the Promacta is covered by my insurance. Isn't that crazy? It's just kind of a crazy reality that we live in, that all the natural stuff is so pricey. I wanted to go to the gym yesterday and today, and I just feel so run down because I've got this cold, and it just doesn't feel like a good place for me to be yet. I feel like I should be outside, taking a walk or something. But the best I can do, and I've been doing it, is every day I'm at least stretching. And with stretching, especially stretching in my hip and stretching my knee, and, just doing yoga, basically doing yoga at home. I just try to do 15 minutes. And it sounds so minimal. Like 15 minutes is a struggle for me to try to get done. And I used to do so much. So... but, I have to be where I am, and I have to just do what I can. So my commitment is every day to at least get myself on my mat. If I can't get to the gym, get on my mat, do some stretches so that my body... Because I wonder if I have osteoporosis. I don't know. I thought the cancer spread, and I had bone metastases, and thank God I don't. But something's going on, and I've definitely heard some women say they got osteoporosis, from, I don't know if it's from the treatment. I guess it's from the treatments. Yeah, not from cancer. So I'm wondering if I'm one of them. But I don't really need a diagnosis for it at this point, especially when I'm just stretching and exercising, and that seems to help me a lot. So right now I'm going into the co-op, and I'm getting some wheatgrass. And I am on the Promacta, but I just want to take it for now. Well, I'm not on the 75. As soon as I start doing the 75, I'll stop the wheatgrass and the juice and like all that stuff and give it a chance and see if it works or not. So hopefully my platelets can get up enough. I was like worried that they were going to admit me into the hospital to get the platelet transfusion, and that's like, it takes 48 hours. It's 2 full days of being in the hospital, being in that environment, already being sick. I was like, no way, I'm not doing it unless I absolutely have to. So anyway, yeah, that's what's going on. I'm like so winded, but I think part of it's the heat. It's like 90 degrees here again. It got hot again, and When it gets hot, it just like exacerbates everything. So, and I was also like, I didn't sleep well last night. So, yeah, overall I feel great. It's funny, I'm making a video and I'm just like, I feel like I don't know, I just don't feel that inspiring or positive right now. Not that I need to be, but like this morning I went to EMDR and I just shared with her what there was to share about, and we like looked at a couple, we looked at a couple things I said as things to investigate, but it wasn't like I wasn't like, oh my god, oh, blah, 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 I gotta tell you this and tell you that and help me. I just felt like I'm doing really well. Actually, I'm kind of surprised in some ways how well I'm doing, because if I sit there and I like look at the details, like it's just so easy to feel sorry for yourself, but like who wants to feel sorry for themselves? I mean, what a waste of time, It's just such a waste. I do want this cold to go away because I felt really good before I got the cold. I'm like, oh man, I feel more motivated. I mean, doing 45 minutes at the gym felt like a chore, but I just let myself like do what I can, like whatever that is. If it's like 20 minutes on a bicycle and 20 minutes lifting weights, great. I'm satisfied with that. I just feel like showing up is like 3/4 of the battle, with anything in life. Just showing up is huge because you have to like get past inertia, and inertia is a really powerful force. So yeah, I'm just like showing up to life, and I feel that. I feel encouraged. And I know I'll get through this. I know it's just a matter of time. It's a long road and it takes a lot. It takes like persevering. It takes staying inspired. It takes really learning, like learning a lot. I don't know. I don't even know how we would get anything done without the internet anymore, because like the doctors, they have such a short time to spend with me, that it's like, I mean, sometimes the initial consult's like 60 minutes or 90 minutes I think I've had with some of them, but after that it's kind of like bam bam, they're in and out. They just have a lot going on, which I get. And believe me, I asked tons of questions, but there's always tons more questions to ask. I mean, that's just how I am. I want to understand things because it helps. I feel like it helps. In some level, I just don't trust anybody to have the full picture necessarily. Like, there's always little bits that could be missed. So I want to be like the little investigative detective, and like looking for, okay, well, are you considering this? And are you considering that? And asking the questions, because you can't hold anyone else at fault, in my opinion. I mean, when you like go for surgery or you go into the hospital, you always sign something that says like, you're basically responsible for your life. I mean, they kind of have you sign over responsibility, which is a bit crazy because that's kind of an extreme example, but still, we are the author of our own life, and, nobody else is really to be held accountable for it. Maybe when we're kids, well, definitely when we're kids, but once we're adults, we just, we can't really blame anybody anymore, including doctors. That's how I feel. Doesn't mean they don't mess up and they don't need to hear about it and they don't need to fix stuff and this and that, but like, we got to speak up about it. We got to stand our ground, and we have to advocate for ourselves. So, okay, on that note, wheatgrass.